Well, I thought it was time to do this. I don't like, as usual, what's going on in the country right now, but I think it's time to do what I call uncomfortable truths. And this probably be something that everybody will say I don't agree with you about because they don't want to not fit in. But let's start. Let's begin. Let's talk about uncomfortable truths. Number one big uncomfortable truth is I see people like, for example, they talk about Donald Trump and they talk about you have Donald Trump was running for office. You had a lot of people who are never Trumpers. You had a lot of people like Glenn Beck, Shapiro, Ben Shapiro. A lot of these people who write conservative stuff and show conservative things. Glenn Beck does a lot of history and things. That's great. But these people would talk about conservatism and talk about and discuss it, and they had this thing, and then you had people like where, like they're not, they're too they're preachy about it, but deep down they make a living off the fact that we really don't have that. That never happens. And they're always second guessing Trump at every move since he's been elected. And these are the people who are critics, and they're really quick to jump off of Trump and say, "I told you so," or "He needs to stay off of Twitter." And that's one of the most annoying. There's a meme going around that talks about it's a pro-Trump meme, but it says, "I think he needs to stay off of Twitter." That's a thing that shows. I see certain things people throw in that shows they're not thinking for themselves, because that was thrown in. That was something that people throw in to sound classy, kind of like people who will talk about if you use a cuss word. And obviously, well, I didn't use a cuss word in my discussion, so therefore I'm more intelligent because I use intelligent language. And these are people who probably cuss like fucking sailors when they're not, in front of people, or use bad language around their kids or whatever. They say they don't. But if anybody who makes that big of a deal out of language, it actually means more when they say it. So it has weight to them. Well, it doesn't have weight when you throw it around, and the way I have. So I don't really see, I don't see it as that big a deal when we've got, men with boobs walking around, and we're supposed to accept that as normal, but yet saying the F word is still this big fucking, evil, wrong thing to do when we've got every other thing in the world that was normalized now. What's the difference in a damn word that means something else that starts with a different letter? Well, how is that a big deal when we've got people wanting to kill babies at 9 months and how is saying fuck even shocking anymore? F-bombs. I can't stand people say that. So that's it. I see these people, and this is one thing I want to bust. I'm going to have to start slow, make it make sense and build it. Back when Trump was running for office, you had people who said he wasn't presidential. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. You had Bush. I read Bush's book that he wrote, then I read some things about how he thinks and his thought processes. And when Bush got in office, all of us were sitting there going, "Take the fuck up for yourself," because they said a lot of shit that wasn't true about Bush. Bush made all of the mistakes Bush made was when he was reaching across the aisle, when he was giving into liberal shit like his father did, and that was the mistakes he made. He wasn't conservative enough. He didn't do conservative. He didn't push conservatives. It's just an idea. It's like these people talk about it. It's kind of like telling your kids you're going to take them to get ice cream, and you really don't want to go. And you say, "Oh, we're going to get some ice cream." It's like just a lie you tell the kids. "Oh yeah, we're conservatives. Vote for us." These people are all up in the political machine. They could care less about fulfilling their fucking thing. So we had people like Romney and McCain, and for years we put up with this shit. And they talk about Reagan like we'd never have a Reagan again. Reagan's great. We'll never have a Reagan again, but Reagan was the gold standard. Don't forget Reagan did amnesty, and he got up there and made speeches about how nobody needs an AK-47. We don't bring that up. The same people who bitch when Trump talks about bump stocks or Trump talks about things he's not sure of will just go fuck off about Trump. So he's just as bad as everybody else. Well, Reagan did the same thing. Reagan did amnesty. And the agreement was we're going to let these people we're going to give amnesty, but we're going to watch the border from now on. We're going to do it right from now on. Now we're not going to put up with that shit. Well, that didn't work. Look it up. Nobody brings up the amnesty that Reagan did. Nobody brings up the anti-gun speeches Reagan did. They're still available on YouTube. You can see them. People don't bring that shit up. But so when they look at Trump, they say, well, Trump said something negative about bump stocks, or he said something about that. So they'll just throw that out there like, well, see, he's not what you think he is. Reagan was a damn Democrat most of his career. Reagan had some liberal ways. Reagan was in Hollywood, and he was a conservative in Hollywood when Hollywood was conservative, but don't think he didn't pick up a few things. His wife wasn't necessarily the most conservative person in the world. You know, he'd had some things with marriage situations and things. Reagan was no angel. Okay, and they made fun of him all the time. When he was president, they talked about him like they do Trump. And then Democrats now speak fondly of Reagan and bring him up and say, well, Donald Trump's no Ronald Reagan. But let's talk about why Trump got elected in the first place. Let's talk about what happened. We went for years with Republicans who were supposed to be conservatives and didn't do conservative stuff. And there's no point. They try to ride the fence. They're in Hollywood, or not Hollywood. They're in Washington D.C. and they in that bubble, and they really just kind of, it's like lip service. Oh, let's do conservative stuff. Yeah, we'll do that. We're conservatives. Of course we're Republicans. It's part of the deal. Kind of like Democrats don't do anything for black people, but they supposedly own the black vote. It's the same thing. And I understand where a lot of black people are fed up because they do the same thing to the black folks. Don't worry, the Democrats are doing to you what they did to conservatives for many years. They're thinking they own us. They say, yeah, we're going to do something for you guys. And they never did. And we got up there and watched Bush go in there for 8 years and didn't do the things like what Trump has done, which are conservative principles and conservative policies. And he's got people, good advisors and people in there that are doing conservative economic policies that got us the good economy we had. And you can argue that it's Obama's economy all day because you read an article. It told you that, and you never would have even thought of that on your own if you hadn't had somebody articulate it in this con artist way that they do. But it's not true. So that said, we have the whole thing with we never had anybody do what they said they're going to do. A lot of people didn't think Trump would, but Trump got elected because he appealed, and this is the truth. He had to appeal to the idiots. Because all these years, idiots were voting Democrat. Idiots were voting Democrat because it's like, look at the stupid lowest common denominator people. It's hope, change. What is hope and change? They don't know what the fuck hope and change is. It hope and change is just make your own, fill in the blanks. Make America great again. Fill in the blanks. It's the same strategy. You had to get this. Unfortunately, here's the deal. There's not people like me and some of you out there that I've been living fucking politics my whole life. I've been paying attention since I was a child to how things are in the country. I've been looking into back in the time when I was scared to death in the 70s. We were having to stay in gas lines, and we can only get gas every other day depending on our license plate number, whether it was odd or even. And all my dad being laid off from work and all the fear and worry about having food and worried about what was going to happen. I came up through that shit. Wasn't as bad as the Great Depression, but it was enough to make me understand that I want to understand how politics works. I paid attention. So for years, I paid attention. I paid attention to everything going on. And I did not sit here and just assume that everything was what I was told. And I didn't assume that the news was telling the truth. So for years, I paid attention. And a lot of people paid attention. But the thing is it got to where when the liberals, the Democrat became the party of liberals, it became the hip thing to do because liberals are, hey, do it feels good, do what you want to do. And they took these things and they, like things that we even never talked about, like abortion. Okay. Why is it really, why they take things and make them an issue? Just why I don't like protests, because when conservatives are protesting, they're protesting something that the liberals have changed. Okay, liberals are protesting, they're wanting to change shit. Conservatives are usually protesting because something they've taken away from us. And you think that's the truth. They pretend like they're taking abortion away, for example, from the liberals, but they created the issue in the first place. It's like nobody was proud of getting abortions back in the day. Nobody said, "Oh, look, I've got abortions. I want to get an abortion." Like people want to keep that a secret. Nobody was out here waving around bragging about their fucking abortions back then. Now we do, because They commercialized it. But nobody was big wild about getting abortions. Nobody was thought it was cool. Nobody wanted to talk about it. We also knew they were gay people. We didn't want to talk about it. They said, well, they're in the closet. Well, no, gay people did what they wanted to do. They were pretty damn flamboyant. They had bathhouses, and say the gay thing was, there was a lot of out people, but they were very, very fucking flamboyant and out. And the people who represented gay people were the parade type people, and those kind of people you see back then. They didn't have like gay people that had kids, because they didn't adopt kids back then. They didn't have the same situation. So you didn't have, that was created. Gay adoption and all these things that were created later. That was built later. So you didn't have it. You can sit here and say, well, what about gay families? There were no gay families back then. It was just gay guys running around bathhouses, and there were lesbians and people who hid it. So it wasn't like something that really that we were going against, because there was nothing to go against. There was not couples that openly had families or gay. There was never a court case or where kids were taken away because two people were gay. There was none of that shit going on back then, because it was just not talked about. So these issues all spawned from the fact that they started discussing gay rights. Now, the thing is you shouldn't abuse or beat up or hurt people because they're different. You shouldn't, but you sit here and say, for years, this was, homosexuality was considered abnormal behavior. Okay, so because it's sticking something in a guy's butt, for example, is the butt, and the thing is, like I said, if I go have anal sex with a woman or my wife, I can be considered like a pervert if I want to put it up her butt. But if I put up a guy's butt, it's beautiful. It's the same thing with all this. It's like if a woman, I mean, think about really the reality of what they've done. Okay, what they've done is, for example, you take somebody who's considered a weirdo. Like, people think I'm weird because I have my opinions and I speak my mind. I'm weird. I'm strange. Why is that? Because I speak my mind? You can basically ostracize me or do whatever you want to me because I'm not protected. Okay, but if I went out and I got fake boobs and I said I'm a woman, then you couldn't say shit to me, because all of a sudden that's a protected thing, that the Democrats created that bubble for those people. Because why? They think that there's a lot of people in entertainment, and they can make you feel sorry for them, and they can take people's emotions and make them into martyrs and victims and shit, and they can build that. That's why there's so many people that have, reported false crimes that never happened and things like that, because they know automatically they become victims, and everybody wants to jump on a bandwagon and talk about how good they are. It's basically so people can say that they're good and feel good about themselves. Oh, look at all my gay friends. Look at how many black people that I love, and all this kind of shit. It's something, it's an ego thing. But you seriously think what it is. I'm considered strange. There are things that are still types of people who are considered strange because of the way they think. Okay. But yet you can take a person who is born a man with a penis and wants to get boobs and walk around wear makeup and say he's a girl. Okay. Now you can say, they say, oh, you got to say that's a woman. Why? Because he wants to be a woman. And now they've said, well, gender doesn't have nothing to do with how you're born or anything. It has to do with what you think you are and your mind. And it's catering to them to a point. It's like, well, you want, okay, so how can you apply it to anything? And the answer is going to be eventually have to be yes. You must be able to apply that to anything. Like you want to think you're a tree, you think anything. You can't, where does it stop? But they created that because they know that it's an endless fucking argument. Like now you can't have, nothing's real anymore because of this type of shit. So I'm weird. You can discount my opinion, say fuck me, whatever. But if I go get a tit job, you can't say shit to me because they're protected class. You think about the absurdity of this shit. Of Tony, that guy's weird, but this guy, she's not weird. But, she with her penis is not weird. You can't say that. That's hate. That's fear. Your fear. Well, what about you don't like me? You say fuck you, Tony. Is that fear? Is that tonophobia? Is that anthonyophobia? Antiphobia? Whatever the fuck you want to call it. Are you afraid of me? If you don't like me, does that mean you're afraid of me? Does that mean it's fear and hate? Is that what that is? Is that fear and hatred? Because if that's the case, you can't apply that to everything. You can apply that to whatever they've decided. It's like, what do the liberals decide is protected? Explain to me why this is protected and this is not. Why is this type of person protected? Why is this person not? What is the difference in this person and this person? And, abortion's not normal. Going and killing a baby inside you is not a normal thing that we want to do. Killing stuff. Like, if I go kill a fucking puppy, if I go step on a damn chicken, even though we eat thousands, millions of chickens every day, if I just go stomp a chicken, people think you're a weird person. I mean, bugs are okay. Bugs are okay. We're okay with people stepping on bugs or spiders, but when it comes like a fluffy animal or like a kitten or something, like, oh, this guy needs to be in prison. Oh, okay. It's an animal that you may have just ate chicken nuggets for lunch, and I go step on a chicken. Well, it's different because you're not eating a chicken. Okay, well, why is it different? I'm not consuming and shitting the chicken out. That makes me a bad person if I go stomp a little chicken over here with my foot. Okay, but if I've got a potential human life that can be like, you look at your baby, your girl, your boy, and you look at how beautiful your kids are, and you look at how much you love your children, and you think that's a potential child, a potential person that would grow up and look like the parents or be special or be something to those people. And you say, well, I want to go kill that. I want to go take that out of me and get rid of it. Well, I mean, it's not even like, we're not even supposed to be like, well, it's not a good thing to do. Maybe you should think about it. Oh, no, don't do that. That's my choice. It's my choice to do this. It's my body, my choice. So it's not that everybody, let me be honest, everybody's got homicidal thoughts or bad thoughts. I believe we all have thoughts that we shouldn't have sometimes about things that are wrong. Like we want to kill people because they hurt our feelings, and we want people to die, or we want bad things to happen to people. That's normal. But if we express it the wrong way, then people will look at us as insane or bad people. But now we've said, or we should think of like, I want this person to die. I hate this person. Even if you say you hate somebody, you're supposed to think about, well, do you really hate them? Hate's a strong word. Hate's a very strong word. You think you should hate them? Okay, but then you got a woman that's pregnant. It's like, I've got this baby that was formed, in me, that very lucky situation, the fertilization of the egg, and there's consequences of abortion, all that. It's, hey, maybe you should think about that. Maybe it's not the best decision to make because it's a potential life. You could have a wonderful child. No, my body. Don't even try to talk to me about that. That's not you are part of the problem because you don't talk to me about that shit. You see my point? So the liberals have taken things and cut off the common sense way of looking at it, like argument. You can't even sit here and look at things like, forget there's conservatives. Pretend like there's no conservatives and no liberals and no politics involved in it. And you had a girl, your daughter is going to go get an abortion. And you're like thinking you like kids and you love your daughter. And you're like, I would like to have a grandchild. Okay. And you say something. Well, is she going to be resistant to it because it's natural to think about it? Is it a natural human thought? I mean, it's natural, in my opinion, it's a natural human thought. If you got a little baby on the way, it's a natural human thought to think about having it or how the baby would be or what would happen. It's natural. But because it's been embedded in people's brains that it's a right and it's something that you have the right to do, then they've totally, in a way, cutting their feelings off. Now, they still have those feelings, but they're denying those feelings. They're using that narrative of it's my body, my choice, my right. They're taking that narrative and they're replacing common thoughts that you would have because of political shit that they've come up with. And the only reason that they tell you these things is not because they care, the Democrats care about you or the liberals care about you. They're doing it because then it causes you to take their side, feel that it's so you join with them. It's like, join with us. We protect this. Look at what they're trying to take away from you. But we're not taking anything away. Now, that said, they sit here and cut off the thoughts you would have without politics naturally. It's even with guns. I mean, people have guns. They say, well, we should outlaw the guns. Common sense would say, well, you can take the gun. You can't take the guns away. The people are going to keep them. You have bad people going to have them. Bad people are going to do bad shit. It's not going to stop it. There's some people who are idiots, don't need guns. Pretty much, yeah, that's pretty common. But they have ways of getting them. So that's common sense thoughts. But it's like, then it becomes, we can take them for you. We can do it. We can make them give us the shit. And they can't do it. So we can make the problem go away. We can make everybody take everybody's guns. We can do this. We can do that. They're always telling you what they can do for you. But they can't do it. They can't feasibly really in reality take everybody's guns, and everybody knows that. They can't get all of them, and they can't get the one for the criminals. So who are they protecting? They're not protecting. They can't stop crazy people, and they can't stop people from doing dumb shit, and they can't stop people from being crazy. But they're telling you they can. But they're not doing anything to stop insanity because they're coming up with all these things that used to be considered insanity or aren't normal, and they're coming up with these no wonder people are crazy because they're abnormal thought processes. The Democrats are using psychiatry and those other things to get us to think improper thoughts or not analyze our thoughts. It's like it becomes politics, like the compassion for a pregnancy or things that are having a pregnancy, compassion for an unborn child. Those things, we're killing compassion. We're telling ourselves that humans are a disease on the earth. We're telling ourselves that people are cancer, and people are wrong, and people are bad, and all this shit. And you're hearing this all the time now. How, like I've said a million times, they're telling us that we're bad. Inherently, we want to live life. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to be human beings and love and have families and have babies and have kids and grandkids and have legacies and have and art, enjoy art and be out in the sun and the beach and all these shit and enjoy our video games and our music and our entertainment. We like that shit. But we're supposed to feel wrong about it. We're supposed to feel like that we're a cancer. And with this current situation with the virus, they've focused on that even more. That we're not supposed to, and they've tried to make you feel guilty, like you're killing people if you go out. And then you look at these numbers. Again, I say we've lost 155, I believe, in this state. 155 people out of almost 6 point something, almost 6.5 million people. And, we lose more than that to opiate addiction. I get all the, you can't catch the opiate addiction. Okay, that's not the point. The point is that many people affected? Well, if we hadn't have done this shit, there'd been more people. The numbers don't match with the amount of shit we've done, regardless of what you say. You're an idiot if you don't look at that and look at other numbers for a while and look at other diseases and other problems and other things, and you say, well, really? Because if you think about the amount of people that is, like, you go to high school, so many people, you're more likely to walk up to somebody, like you go to Knoxville and you live in Nashville and meet somebody, like, let's say it was in your high school. Let's just say you knew 150 people or like 200 people at your church or 200 people at your school. What's the likelihood that you run into them in another part of the state? What's the likelihood that you knew anybody that died from this virus? What's the likelihood you knew anybody that had it? Now, there's always these secondhand stories. But if you talk to enough people, there's not a lot of people who say they knew anybody that died from it. Now, maybe in New York, but in New York, look at the population of New York. Look how big their population is. So it's highly unlikely that everybody in New York knows somebody that got sick. It's kind of like knowing a lottery winner. If you look at the numbers, it's like lotteries, like winning the lottery. It's not that many people know people. So it's really, it's this thing that if you look at the numbers and look at how they manipulated this shit, it's whether the thing exists and it's good to try to avoid it and it's good to do measures and all that, but they're using this and you can't see that they're using it. But that said, go back to my original thing. Trump exists because of idiots. Trump was elected because of idiots. Okay? Same thing. Obama, the Democratic Party for years used idiots that didn't get into politics, didn't give a fuck about politics, didn't care about politics, didn't care about what was going on, didn't give a damn. Okay? They drugged them in by creating issues. Drug them in. First they would use, like even with Bill Clinton. Oh, I smoked, they didn't inhale. There goes your potheads. I smoked pot, but I didn't inhale. They started trying to drag in the people who like drugs and drag in the weed people, They start saying little things to try to catch everybody's attention. It's marketing. It's all marketing. Who can we catch? We're your friend. We're your friend. We're all there for you. We're helping you out. We're there. We're your people. And they kept doing that. They kept taking people in and making them think they're going to do something for them. So that said, we had Obama coming in. Hope, change. We watched all these years of Bush not taking up for himself and getting run over. And then when Obama comes around, people project what hope is to them, what change is to them, what they want. They project their own emotions onto this guy. He doesn't really specify what he's going to do, other than he's going to be, I'm a liberal guy, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to try to listen to everybody, and he try to pretend like he actually gives a shit about people who don't agree with him. That's not true. He's very condescending. He's a very arrogant, very condescending person. If you listen to him talk, and he's not articulate. He's not intelligent. He's like everybody says he's articulate, intelligent. Why? Because they're afraid not to say it because he's part black. He's very little black, actually. But He sounds, if you listen to him and you wrote down what he said, he sounds just like any other liberal talker up there. Any other liberal that talks. And they're racist because he sounds like a typical white guy, so therefore he's articulate. Well, if you're going to sit here and say because he sounds like any other white politician and he's articulate, then you're saying that anybody who sounds so-called black or African-American is an ignorant person. That's what you're saying to me when you say that. If somebody speaking in Ebonics or whatever, or somebody speaking in an African let's say urban dialect, then that person's an ignorant person in your opinion, and then this person here is intelligent because why? He sounds like a guy on the golf course, and that makes him intelligent and articulate because he sounds. See, you don't think about the logic behind what they're saying. How logically can you say a black man is more intelligent because of how he sounds? How does he sound? Because the things out of his mouth sound just like the things out of every other liberal's mouth. What does he say that's so profound? What? Because you see a black guy out there, because these dumbass liberals want to feel good about, look what we've done for the black man. Now he sounds like us. That's the ignorance of it. So for years, you had people who's Democratic Party people voting for the idiots, voting for the fucking Democrats. And you had to find a way to pull them in with this shit, like football team, rah-rah fucking shit. Because unfortunately, people like that used to not vote. They used to sit through their drugs and ignore the whole political process. But they got drug into it, this lowbrow rock the vote shit years ago and all this other, everybody's got to vote. Everybody doesn't know what the fuck they're voting for. Okay? How you going to campaign in a black church, for example, who, I know a lot of people who are black church members that don't believe in all this gay and transsexual shit, but they're sitting here voting for the party that pushes it. They don't believe in all this open gay shit and open transsexual shit and all this. Now, do they hate people? Most of us don't hate any of those people at all, but a lot of us don't want it normalized because we think, well, you know, they do their thing. And I think, like I said, I think it's stuff that what people do sexually, we don't need to market them. If you do weird sex shit, you doing DPs and gangbangs at home or wife swapping or whatever, that's great. Talk to people who are into it and do what you want to do, but you can't change the structure. The structure should just be the same. You want to have tits and a dick, that's fine. Go around, whip your dick out and titties and get some nice tits and show how I look at them. Show me your new boob job. I love looking at boobs. A guy walks up to me and show, oh, wait, those are great tits. Who's a doctor? Fine. Okay, I love fake tits. No problem with it. But if a woman gets fake tits, you guys can still say she's got a fucking, she must have fucking self-esteem problems, or she's a fucking stupid bitch, or she's crazy. This bitch is stupid getting fake tits. Look at this fake ass bitch. Why is a woman with fake tits still can be called fake or made fun of or degraded? But if a woman goes out and gets a boob job, you still can say she's not normal. If a man, for example, is a big bodybuilder, he takes testosterone, you can say that guy's got fucking body issues. Oh, he's got dysmorphia. He's got body issues. This guy's insecure. He must have a small dick. Look at this guy with the muscles taking the steroids. And this guy's got fucking mental problems. But over here, oh, here's a woman that wants to be a man and have muscles and look like a dude. Well, it's okay. Oh, give her as much of that shit as she can possibly get because that's beautiful. You see what I'm saying? We're normalized. If you think about it on the same plane, if you think of everything the same, it's not normal. If it's not normal for a guy to take a shitload of steroids and get big muscles and take a shitload of fucking testosterone, how is it not normal? You can't say that's not normal and say that's narcissistic or whatever, and then take a woman that goes out and takes the same shit and say that there's great. You can't sit here and say a woman who goes out and gets some double D tits has got a self-esteem issue, and then sit here and look at a man that goes out and gets the same set of tits from the same doctor, and they're a great person doing great things. Where's you see this? You don't use the same logic to define this shit the same way. So my point is, what Trump did was Trump got the idiots. He figured out how to appeal to the same morons with the same marketing because he comes out of the same world as the liberals, so he knew how to market to the idiots. So when you dumbass people say, I don't think you should be on Twitter, he's on Twitter because he's taking the fuck up for himself, which is something nobody did for years, and he's doing conservative policies, which we've been wanting for years. I don't give a fuck if he's on Twitter. Because what you guys understand is he's appealing to those fucking dumbass people that need to hear that shit, because we got to get them over on our side. Because if we don't get the dumb people on our side and educate them and teach them about what they actually voted for, say, hey, look, now let's forget about this my team, your team shit. Let me show you why this is. Let me show you the policies and the history behind conservatism. And you teach them so they're not dumb anymore. Then we got more smart people. Then we don't have to rely on the dumb people. We educate them. We don't need to rely on stupid people to elect the president. But if we don't fucking teach these people, it's going to be this stupid guy these guys going to attract the stupid. Next year, we're going to have a fucking, we'll have next 4 or 5 years or 6 years or 8 years or whatever, we'll have somebody come in this scene and they'll figure out a way to get the dumbasses back again. If we don't educate, we need to educate, and get people on the path of understanding what the difference in capitalism and socialism and all this shit is, and teach them. So all you people who putting this meme out, Trump doesn't need Twitter. I wish he'd get off Twitter. You don't understand. He has to do that kind of shit to get to, one, defend himself, because when if he does not defend himself, all you got CNN telling people whatever, and they're controlling it. He is undoing what they do to presidents that are Republican. How can you guys not see that? Yeah, I think, and the only reason people say these get on Twitter is because you're one of them anti-Trump people deep down. Don't want to admit. It's like with me. Well, I think Tony's a little out there. I don't agree with everything he says, but sometimes he's right. And the things you don't agree with, the things they end up being right about, it's never something that I was wrong about. 6 months later, I was right about it. So you're sitting here telling people you don't agree with them, or you're saying I don't agree with everything Trump does, but the shit works. Okay, it keeps him in office. It keeps us from having certain people in office we don't want. Okay, so you guys got to understand how this system works. You got to understand the system. You're sitting here looking at people who never would have voted for Republican, voting for Republican. They don't even know the difference in Democrat and Republican now. That we were losing the country to. We were letting, these people were controlling the fucking country with these stupid slogans and shit. These dumbasses, I don't even go out wearing a fucking MAGA hat. Why? I don't put a bumper sticker on my car. I never did before. I don't put team stickers on my fucking car. I don't do that shit. It's a country, not a fucking sports event. It's a fucking economy. It's a country. It's my fucking home where I live. It's more important than a sticker or a slogan to me. But if that's what it takes to get these goddamn people to not vote for an idiot that I don't want in office or keep this shit going on, then fine. So you people who say, I don't like the fact that he's on Twitter, you're parroting these damn know-it-all. What did they do for us? All these people who knew it all these years, these writers, they're fucking academic type people. They're writers that sit here and talk about what Trump theoretically should do. And they all said Trump wouldn't have a chance. They all tell you how many times Trump started World War III. They're always backing off. So he shouldn't have done his Ben Shapiro. I love him to death. He's got a lot of good things that he does and says. But then how many times has he guessed, Trump shouldn't, this is a stupid move, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't. It ended up being wrong about it. So many times he was wrong. He was wrong about so many things that Trump has done. They're wrong. But then you sit here and you sit here and parrot these fucking guys. So anyway, this is part 1 of my Uncomfortable Truth video. I'm going to do some more in part 2. And I know it's not lit well. I know my shit goes up, but I don't care, because you look at this. This is where we're at. We're dark. And I don't mind doing dark videos. It's basically about my voice. You don't have to look at me. I got a big nose. I'm not like a pretty boy. I'm not the best thing in the world to look at. So this is basically like radio, okay? I'm just doing videos because it's easy to do videos, and my podcast shit doesn't work that well. So